Vajiraman Ravi has been still there even during my mains preparation, during both my attempts 2023-24. I started my preparation in 2018 here as a foundation batch student, and finally I'm again back here 6 years later. The life has come full circle finally. I post-graduated actually in year 2018. After that I came to Vajiraman Ravi, as the name has always been there, where I was completely clueless कि क्या करना है क्या नहीं. And that year I think, but I think ये join किया test series मैंने, and we had those regular feedback sessions.
GS
we had GS. I was enrolled for the GS thing. I had that regular feedback session. After every copy that was checked, we had those mentoring sessions going on. So उससे पता चलता था what is wrong, where I should add on, what is the changes I need to make, etc. So it went like that, and I really scored good in GS. Last year also it was 435 marks in GS 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello everyone, I am Dhwani Agarwal. I have secured rank 215 in UPSC CSE 2024. Here I'd like to discuss my strategy for the essay and ethics paper. First of all, I'll start with a very brief introduction as to my mains preparation, and then I will give a detailed analysis of how I prepared for essay and ethics. So as all of you know that mains preparation can be divided into 3 parts basically. So one is GS 1, 2, 3, another is your optional, and then the third part according to me is essay and ethics. So while I believe that what worked for me in this attempt was the fact that I could score consistently across papers, across the GS papers, but definitely from the very beginning when I had started my preparation for mains, I had already identified that one has to target few papers when it comes to mains preparation to fetch a little higher marks and to get an edge in the marks. So I had already identified that there will be 4 papers on which I will be focusing more compared to other papers. 2 were definitely my optional papers, and the other 2 were basically essay and ethics. Now, how I identified that essay and ethics can actually create very good output for me was the fact that I analyzed that in these 2 papers over the years, the difference in marks is very huge compared to the papers in GS 1, 2, 3. And also there is a bit of uncertainty when it comes to GS 1, 2 and 3, because in past few years it has been seen that there are questions, especially in GS 3 and GS 1, that are completely unheard of. For example, if I take a recent example, in the 2022 paper of GS 3, there were few questions on certain environmental protocols like the Gothenburg Protocol that nobody had any idea about, or most number of aspirants did not have an idea about what was this protocol, and one had to write a 15 marker on this. So what I'm trying to say here is that while questions can be very uncertain in GS 1, 2 and 3, there is a kind of certainty that one feels when it comes to the preparation of essay, ethics and optional, and therefore my strategy from the very beginning was to target these 4 papers so as to take an edge over the other candidates or the other fellow aspirants and thereby take a lead. So now I will start with the with my strategy for these 2 papers. Firstly, I believe that what has happened in the past 2 to 3 years is that the essay paper, the topics that the UPSC is giving in the essay paper, they have become very philosophical. So earlier essays used to be on topics like women empowerment, climate change, such topics that actually overlap with the syllabus of GS, and therefore one could actually use the material that one had studied for the GS papers in the essay paper also. But now what is happening is that UPSC has shifted to giving importance to philosophical essays, and when it comes to philosophical essays, the preparation of ethics and the preparation of essay actually overlap. So that was my approach from the very beginning. So first of all, I will discuss my strategy for the essay paper, then I will discuss my strategy for the ethics paper, and then I will give you an overview as to how the preparation for both of them can be done together, or they can actually be taken hand in hand. So first of all, when it comes to essay, I believe the first thing that one has to remember when it comes to preparing for the essay is that essay is not a GS paper. Essay को हम GS paper की तरह prepare नहीं कर सकते. It is not a test of your knowledge, or it is not a test of how much you know. Essay is basically a language paper in which you have to make use of the language in whatever language you are writing that essay, be it English or Hindi. आपको उस language को use करके अपने points को रखना है examiner के सामने, and you have to present it in a way कि उसका flow भी बहुत अच्छा बना रहे, ताकि जो examiner है उसका interest बना रहे आपके essay में और वो bore ना हो. क्योंकि at the end of the day हमें ये चीज़ याद रखनी है कि when we are writing the exams, examiners have to go through a lot of copies on a single day. And if the content is repetitive or if there is no flow in your essay, then he or she will tend to get bored and there are chances that you will lose marks in this process. So हमारा aim essay में होना चाहिए कि हम सामने वाले की attention बांध के रखें from our very first word in the essay to our very last word in the essay, so that the person remains invested in what we are writing and we are able to get good marks. So this year in essay I scored 127 marks. It is one of the highest marks this year, and I would now like to share that how I prepared for this particular paper. So मैंने start ऐसे किया कि first of all I looked at a number of topper copies from the previous years to see कि essay के paper का demand क्या है, how a good essay is written, and what all I can include in a particular topic to make my essay holistic and to make my essay interesting. तो वैसे तो मैंने बहुत टॉपर कॉपीज पढ़ी essays की, but few copies या few toppers जिनके actually writing style ने मुझे बहुत inspire किया, and later on मैंने भी अपने writing style में कुछ उनका essence incorporate करने की कोशिश करी. So one of them is Vikram Grewal. Mr. Vikram Grewal. So Vikram Grewal sir, he basically has a very nice way of writing his essays. He tries to give a very holistic perspective, and he tries to use a lot of books and movie references in his essays. That basically makes his essay interesting. So that is something that I learned from Vikram sir. Then there were few other toppers also whose essays I referred to. For example, Vishali ma'am's essays and Soumya ma'am's essays. All of those essays I basically referred to get an understanding of how an essay has to be written. Now, once I understood how an essay has to be written and how flow has to be maintained, I basically identified the fact that since in order to make the essay interesting, I cannot prepare for it in 1 day or 2 days before the exam, or say for example even 1 month or 2 months before the exam. It has to be a constant process, a continuous process throughout my journey. So what I started doing was, from the first day of my preparation, I started collecting material from the newspapers or from the magazines or from wherever I was reading, the online sources that I could use in my essays. Material that I could use in my essays, I mean things like quotations. If I come across a very good quotation, say for example by some influential personality like Mahatma Gandhi or Abraham Lincoln, then I would write that quotation down, and then I would try to use it when I am writing my essay on a particular topic. So that those are things that I used to pick up from the newspapers when I used to read, or say for example some book I am reading or some online material I am reading. So I will pick that up and I will write it in a notebook. Similarly, I will collect other things. Say for example, I come across some best practice that is being used in a country, or say for example I come across some government initiative or an initiative by a person where he is trying to help the society in some way. I would write it down and I will try to quote it as an example when I am writing my essay on a particular topic. So that is how I used to invest, say for example 5 to 10 minutes extra every day while reading the newspaper or while reading any online article, and write it down in a notebook. And then later on, when I am preparing for my mains examination, before the essay exam, I can go through all those examples, I can go through all those quotations so that I can recall them in the examination and use them in my essay. So that was basically how I prepared essay over a period of time while I was obviously preparing the other things like my optional and the mains. I was investing 5 to 10 minutes every day extra, collecting these examples, collecting these best practices, and then making use of those in my essay to make it more, to substantiate my arguments better and to make the essay more interesting. So that was my overall strategy for essay. Now, if I go a bit in detail, how I approached the essay paper was that an essay, so UPSC demands an essay of around 1000 to 1200 words. 1000 to 1200 words roughly means 10 to 12 pages. So how I divided my content of the essay was that I told myself that I will, on each page of the essay, I will write 2 paragraphs, and in this way I will write 20 to 22 paragraphs in my essay. I will start it with a nice introduction. Now when it comes to introduction has to be very catchy, because we have to catch the attention of the examiner from the very first word, as I said in the beginning. So when I say introduction has to be catchy, we can start it with a very nice book reference, or we can start it from a very nice anecdote, or probably some movie reference, whatever it is that can catch the attention of the examiner, right? Once we start with a very catchy introduction, I believe that the next 9 to 10 pages of the essay have to cover a lot of dimensions of a particular topic. When I say dimensions, I mean one can write a number of dimensions while they are while they are making a framework of their essay during the first 10 to 15 minutes. So we can cover the social aspect, the political aspect, the economic aspect, the legal aspect, the global aspect, the cultural aspect. All of these aspects of a particular essay topic can be covered in those subsequent paragraphs after the introduction. But what is important is that there has to be a flow that has to be maintained in that essay, and that flow can be maintained by using various connector words like moreover, however. All of these words can be used to maintain a flow, because maintaining a flow becomes very important in the essay paper, because as I mentioned, it is not a GS paper. One cannot provide pointers and then expect that one will get good marks. Essay papers do not work that way. They are language papers. Flow has to be maintained, and there has to be a clarity of thought that has to be reflected. Because I believe that an essay is not an answer. An essay is a conversation. When you are writing an essay, you are trying to actually have a conversation with the examiner. You are trying to give a lot of points, you are trying to give a lot of rationale on the topic that you are writing on, and then you are trying to substantiate it with few references, or say for example few examples or quotations or whatever. So this is a conversation which has to remain tethered to the main topic. One cannot digress and move to other directions, because then that can be a bit frustrating for the examiner. So remain tethered to the main topic of your essay and try to maintain the flow, and try to have a conversation and try to have a free flowing conversation, as I said, with the examiner, by covering various dimensions as I mentioned. So that is how I basically dealt with attempting the essay paper. Now I'd like to take a very small example of how one can approach a particular essay. So for example, if I take one topic, this is one of the topics that came in one of the previous year papers. So the topic goes like, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. So if I have to write an essay on this topic, what I should do, or how I should approach this is, first of all, I will try to make a framework. In 15 to 20 minutes, I will try to make a brief framework of how I will approach the topic. I will write all the main dimensions that I would want to cover in this particular topic. And then once I have written those dimensions in my framework, I'll try to write 2 to 3 keywords with each dimension, that this is something that I will discuss in each dimension. So for this topic only, if I take an example, if I try to tell you how I would have introduced the topic, I would have probably started with something, in order to make it dramatic and catchy, I would have started with something, say for example, the invention of the nuclear bomb or the invention of the atom bomb. That how, if education had focused on educating the heart and not only educating the mind, we would have probably not had something like Hiroshima Nagasaki in 1945. So what I'm trying to say is, I try to make it catchy by basically referring to this atom bomb invention. So that is kind of how I will start it. And then I will try to cover a lot of dimensions. I will try to cover the historical dimension, where I can mention the education paradigms of Ashoka or Akbar, wherein there was a lot of focus on, tolerance, empathy, compassion, those things can be mentioned. Then I can come to the political aspect. I can discuss after that how when it comes to politics also, compassionate education is very important. Science and techme, I can discuss how compassionate education becomes important, as I have already given the example of the atom bomb. So in the legal field, I can discuss how the instrument of PIL has basically introduced this aspect of compassionate judicial activism in our country. So what I'm basically trying to say is, once I have given an introduction, I have tried to cover as many dimensions as possible to make the essay holistic, to make the essay interesting. And then once I have done that in the next 9 to 10 pages, I would probably conclude it with a conclusion that is all encompassing, that tries to sum up everything that I have said in the last 9 to 10 pages. And I can sum it up with a quotation also, or I can sum it up with whatever that I have written in the past 9 to 10 pages and conclude it nicely to just give a closure to the examiner. So that is how I believe that a good essay can be written. So that was about my essay preparation and essay strategy. Now I'd like to share my strategy for the ethics paper. So ethics paper is the fourth paper of the 4 GS papers, and I believe in the last few years the importance of this paper has grown a lot because of the fact that the difference in the marks of especially this paper is a lot, and therefore it can become a make or break paper for a lot of people. So with regard to ethics, what I believe is ethics is another paper wherein a little bit of extra hard work can give you a lot of good results. So how now I'll basically start with the sources for the ethics paper, and then I will discuss my strategy. So with respect to sources, ethics is not a paper that can be covered from a single book or a single source. It is a very dynamic paper, and it is a paper that has got a lot to do with our daily interactions or our daily life, and how we deal with things in our day-to-day life. And therefore the same strategy one has to take while preparing for the ethics paper as well, and that is to prepare for it from multiple dimensions and from multiple sources. So first of all, lexicon was one source that I used. Apart from that, I basically relied on Google. So I did a lot of Google search on the various topics of the syllabus and prepared my notes. And apart from that, as I said, that I was collecting the material throughout the year from the newspapers and the online articles. For example, the quotations or the best practices, all those kind of things I was already collecting at one place. And once I collected all of that material, I consolidated that material during my mains preparation, and that is how I majorly prepared for ethics. Now, if I have to discuss in a bit detail that how I covered the syllabus for ethics, so particularly for ethics, what is very important is that each and every word that is written in the syllabus has to be covered very holistically. What I mean by that is that if, say for example, a word empathy is mentioned in the syllabus, then one should actually have the curiosity to first of all understand that what is empathy. So we can basically prepare 1 or 2 lines of definition sort of on empathy. Then after that, we can collect few examples of empathy from our day-to-day life, where we saw somebody empathizing with someone, or say for example some official showing empathy towards people who visit his office, something like that. And then few quotations on this particular word can also be collected. And once that has been done, a holistic viewpoint of empathy has been there. The next question that comes is that how empathy is different from sympathy, or how empathy is different from compassion. So all of that is basically a part of the notes that you prepare for your ethics. So that is how each and every word of the syllabus has to be dissected, has to be dealt with in a lot of detail. And only once that has been done, one can say that one is preparing for ethics holistically. Now, as far as the questions that appear in the ethics paper are concerned, there are 2 types of questions. So, ethics paper has 2 parts, part A and part B. Part A deals with the theory questions and Part B deals with the case studies or the case problems. So Part B is very lengthy because the case studies or the case problems that are basically appearing these days are quite lengthy, and they deal with a number of complex issues. So to comprehend those case studies in the limited time period that is available becomes a bit tricky, and in that case practicing a lot of those case studies while writing tests becomes very important. So first of all, case studies, I believe preparing for case studies, the first step is to go and look at the various previous year questions to understand that what kind of issues these studies deal with. The second is to look at topper copies to understand that how one has to deal with the complex issues that are being asked through these case studies. And then thirdly, one can develop a broad framework to respond to the particular question or the case study. So the framework that I developed was basically I used to give a brief of the issues that are being discussed in the case study or being highlighted in the case study. Then I would highlight the stakeholders that are involved in that particular question. That I used to do with a flowchart so as to save time and space both. And later on I would respond to the various parts of the case study. Say for example, if the ethical issues raised are being asked, I will write the various ethical issues. Then what are the various ethical dilemmas that are there in the particular case, those can be written. Then what particular path can the person in question take, the merits and demerits of taking that path, all of that can be discussed. And then finally a conclusion can be provided so as to provide a closure to the examiner in the particular case study. So that is how case studies can be dealt with. However, case studies, as I said, are lengthy, they are tricky, they require a lot of practice. So I believe that when one is appearing for the test series, a lot of importance should be given to this part of the paper. Now coming to the second part, which is the theory part. So theory part is, I would say, the comparatively easier part because the questions are direct and direct material from whatever material you have collected, the various on and whatever material you have prepared on the various topics mentioned in the syllabus. Those keywords can basically be used in your answers in the theory. Those quotations, those keywords, those value-added material can be used to substantiate your arguments. A number of flowcharts and diagrams can also be used to make your answers look more presentable or to attract the attention of the examiner. So all of those things can be done to make the answers visually more attractive, or say for example to attract the attention of the examiner and to substantiate your point better. So I can give an example here. So for example, if I have to in a theory question in ethics, if I have to differentiate between governance, good governance and ethical governance, I can actually make a pyramid, and in that pyramid I can make 3 layers, and in the lowermost layer I can show this is governance. In the second layer I can show that it is good governance, and in the third layer I can show it is ethical governance. Meaning thereby that diagrams can be used to substantiate your points better, to visually illustrate the point that you are trying to make in your points so as to get an edge over the other candidates, and also to make your answer more presentable. So all of these things can be incorporated in your answer writing for ethics. These things have to be developed during the practice only, because it is very important to incorporate these things while writing the main exam, sitting in the examination hall. So all of these practices of writing quotations in between the answers, of making diagrams, or say for example flowcharts in your answers, making a few arrows etc. to substantiate your point, flowcharts, clouds, whatever these visual symbols can be, those have to be incorporated during the practice for the ethics paper. And then that can obviously be recreated or reproduced during the main examination. So that was my overall strategy for the ethics paper.